What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and you read that right. We'll be playing poker today with 4 cards here at the Wynn. Or are we? I got the green screen set up. Let's go back to the Wynn. Yeah, that's better. Better known today as Pot Lima Omaha. I can only use 2 cards from my hand and 3 on the board, so there are no 1-card flushes, no 1-card straights. It's a lot of thinking, a lot different strategy than regular Hold'em. Still the same concept. Aces are still good, kings are still good. Without further ado, let's get right into the action. Welcome back, everyone. This is just an episode that you don't want to miss. So many crazy fun hands, some 4-card poker. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let's start it off with a bang as we are in the big blind with pocket jacks. That's about all we've got as the other 2 cards are crap, and boom, we flop quads. This is not a joke. Not a gimmick, we actually flop quads. Nothing to do here besides just check. And thankfully, the button now bets $20. Oh my goodness, we have to rub our eyes. Is this real life? The first hand, we decide to just flat call and head to a turn. The turn brings a second flush draw on board. I check once again, hoping, praying that the button will bet, and he does. He comes through. He bets $40. Oh my goodness. Should we raise here? Should we just continue setting the trap? I decide to continue and set the trap and just make the call here, and let's head to a river, which is an interesting one. It completes the backdoor flush draw, and it also double pairs the board. I'm hoping maybe my opponent has pocket 8s, quads over quads. How crazy would that be? Maybe we can get called if we bet, but I decide to check. My opponent already bet 2 streets, hoping he bets a third, and he checks back. Oh my goodness, we show the quads. I think they're gonna be good here, and my opponent mucks. Happy to take down the first pot, making quads. This episode is going to be crazy. For this next hand here, we look down at pocket aces, but actually in Omaha, this is really not a great hand at all. We have 3 clubs, so we're blocking ourselves some clubs. The king and the 4 don't connect at all. It's just really not a great hand at all. So when the player to my right decides to raise to $30 over the straddle, I just flat call, which brings in 2 more callers as well. And what do you know, maybe we're going to make ourselves some more money as we flop top set with the aces here. You love to see it. Especially on a rainbow board, I am just absolutely loving life. Now the initial raiser decides to check, and there's no way in hell I'm checking here. I decide to bet out for $40 here, and only the initial raiser makes the call, so I don't know, maybe he's got an ace himself. Really, hopefully he's got a lower set and we can just fully double up here. He checks the turn yet again, and now I fire for $80, double my bet on the flop, and once again he makes the call, so I'm curious as to what he has here. But let's see a river, and this river is just disgusting. If I had to handpick like 2 or 3 of the worst rivers in the deck, this would definitely be up there. Complete straights, completes flush draws, and now when my opponent checks, I just don't think that there's much I can get value from. Is 2-pair gonna really call here? The only things that I see are calling are low straights, low sets, and I just don't really see the possibility there. So I check, and my opponent decides to muck when I say I have a set, but listen to the audio, it's pretty funny.
Alright, I have a set.
You just said have a set. Come on.
I
was thinking 7s, I would never. Yeah, like aces. He's like, yeah, I have a set, and then throws down.
Horrible run out.
Not these. I have these sets.
So yeah, we say that we have a set and flip over a top set, and my opponent actually did say that he had an ace. I don't know if he had 2 pairs, so maybe we would have got called on the river. Not sure, just a bit of inexperience here, and I'm wondering if you guys that play PLO always decide to 3-bet, and if you would have bet this river here, let me know down below. Have you guys ever heard of a double board bomb pot? Well, here, every dealer change, we're doing a $30 double board bomb pot. The cards are dealt, and we're going to 2 boards, so yeah, we're playing 4 cards. 2 boards, lots of cards out there. We get nothing going in this first one, but stay tuned because this next hand is one of the craziest hands I've ever played. For this next hand here, we are in one of those $30 double board bomb pots, and oh my goodness, we don't have a great hand, but that's okay because we flop a set on both boards. Oh my goodness, strap in. This is about to get crazy. It checks over all the way to the gentleman sitting to my right, and he decides to bet out for $150. It is concerning because pocket aces has us drawing absolutely dead on that board, and there's just a lot of hands that can come on the other board to give us the loss. Queen Jack has a lot of equity. 2 spades are definitely live, and that's not even mentioning that 10s and kings also have us dead on that board, so there's just a lot to think about here. So we don't have near the nuts on either boards, but enough with the negativity. I take a long time and decide to just flat call the 150 here. And in a way, I'm relieved to see everyone else fold, as this will be certainly easier to navigate heads up as opposed to other players in the pot here. The turn on the top board is a king, and the turn on the bottom comes at 10, which are actually two very good cards. It reduces the chances that someone has kings, king 10, and now the straight draws and flush draws are drawing dead. Not sure what my opponent has here, but all in all, two very good turn cards. Now my opponent decides to bet out for $200, and I want to put his draws to the test. Maybe he still thinks his queen jack or his spades are alive if he also has ace 10 or some type of two pair on the bottom. I raise this thing up to $750. And pretty quickly my opponent jams over the top. It's not much more to me, so I obviously snap call back, and my opponent shows pocket kings, so much for the reduced likelihood that he's got kings. He actually did have a flush draw on the bottom, but we faded that, thank God, because we went from thinking we might scoop this pot to then maybe getting scooped ourselves to then just chopping. So I guess I'm happy to at least secure about $50 in profit from all the other dead money. Now I could take a sigh of relief. Just so many swings of crazy emotions in this hand. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Definitely one of the craziest hands I've ever played. I guess my gut was right when I immediately went to think about all of the hands that beat us. It would have been very, very devastating to have gotten scooped here. Let me know how you guys would have played this one down below. But don't you go anywhere, because this is not the last crazy hand that we will play for the rest of the session. Alright, give me a break. I'm used to 2 cards, not 4, so having a tough time peeling these. I was having some camera issues here, so the angle's a bit lower here, so we won't stay on this hand forever, but we do pick up an amazing hand here and some good action ensues. When there's an open to $40 and then a 3-bet right next to me to $125, I'm in an interesting spot, because this is definitely a hand that we could go with and have a lot of equity against just bare aces. Say he has like ace 6-8 with only one suit, or even better, like ace 5-9 with 0 suits. We would be extremely live and maybe even a favorite against one of those hands. But I definitely do not want to fold. I am in the mood to gamble. I decide to just put in the call, and the other player decides to call as well. So we're going 3 ways to a board, looking to smash one. In Omaha, it's not really great to go multi-way to flops, especially when you don't have the nut flush draw, because you'll have a lot of reversed implied odds as you'll let other people get in there with the nut flush draw. And then say if clubs or hearts come out, it'll be an interesting guessing game to see if we even have the best flush draw. But we do get one of those amazing boards, as we have an open-ended straight draw as well as a flush draw. And now the action checks over to me, and I don't really want to check and then have the board pair. I want to just pile in money now, so I decide to bet right around the pot for $310, and both of my opponents fold, and the player who 3-bet did show pocket aces. He didn't show his other 2 cards, so it'll be interesting. If we 4-bet, maybe he would have jammed and we could have got it all in, and maybe we would have doubled up on the second hand of the night, but we can't live in what if world. Happy to take this one down without actually technically hitting anything, and we're on to the next hand. This next hand might show a bit more inexperience, and I'm looking for some feedback down below, but we look down at ace king 6-8, a beautiful hand. We are next up after the $10 straddle, and I decide to limp in. Now a player in early position decides to min raise to $20, and 3 players call. So now when it's on me, I decide to 3-bet this one up to $105. I think I should be going even a bit more, probably just saying pot and making it, I guess, like 150-ish. And only the initial raiser decides to make the call, so we're going heads up, which is exactly what I wanted, to what looks like a pretty good flop to me. Now when the initial raiser decides to check, I decide to c-bet here for $140. And now when it's back to the initial raiser, he decides to pot it here. So yeah, very unfortunate, and I really was not expecting that, as we have the 8 blocker to block top set. He could have flopped a lower set, but what I think is likely is it's one of 3 options. 1, like I said, he's got the nut flush draw, which obviously we're not blocking. 2, he flopped a lower set. Or 3, he just has air and is taking advantage of the fact that I really should not have connected with these low cards at all, and he's going to be putting me on ace king, aces, kings, queens, and all of those hands are not loving a raise here at all. So I could just jam back over the top, as I had about $1,000 effective here. But after some thought, I decided to just let it go. Obviously, out of only one of those 3 combinations, I am just completely effed. If he has a set, I'm practically drawing dead. But even against a flush draw, he has a lot of cards to give him the win here, as we only have an 8. So I don't hate letting it go, but just very obvious here that I'm a bit inexperienced, because maybe this flop is just better for me to check back. I'm not really sure, but looking for some feedback down below, and let's head to the next hand. We just have to exercise some patience and wait for our hand, as this game is awesome. We see a massive 3-way all-in pre-flop, and we see pocket jacks take it as they flop top set. As we assume the other players might have had aces or kings, he might have gotten super lucky, but let's lock in and head to the next hand. For the next hand here, we look down at a decent hand. It's not bad, it's not amazing. Nonetheless, after a $25 raise and 3 callers, I'm on the button, so I flick in the call here, looking to see a good flop, and that's pretty much exactly what we get, as we have a super wrap, as we have the 7-8 draw as well as the jack. But then again, somebody could easily have queen jack here and definitely be outdrawing us, so we have to proceed with caution when it checks to us. I just want to take the free card here and check. Don't want a mishap from earlier where we bet and then get raised. We see an ace on the turn, which obviously does absolutely nothing for our hand except give us now a gut shot to a queen as well. Now the action checks to the player to my right, which is the cutoff, and he decides to bet $80. I flick in the call here, looking to hit my straight on the river. Nobody else calls, so we're just going heads up to the river here, and boom, we binked the nuts. The 6 or 7 were the only 2 cards to actually give us the nut straight, so happy to see that, and we're not going to have to guess if we have the best straight here, because we obviously do. Now the cutoff decides to check, so my decision is obviously what to bet here. I don't want to go super big and bet pot. I still want him to call with his 2 pairs. Maybe he turns a set of aces, and he's not going to fold no matter what size I choose. But I don't want to let him off the hook, so I decide on $220. And now my opponent hops in the tank, and after just a little bit of thinking, he pays it off. We show him the nuts and get the pot pushed our way. It's nice after sort of a rocky start to get a pot finally pushed our way. Let's go. For this hand, we look down at the beautiful pocket aces. Again though, just not really good supporting cards, but still, I decide to raise it up pre-flop to $40, and we get 2 callers, 1 in early position, and the limper as well, so we're going 3 ways to a board in which we flop top set yet again. Just beautiful to see with aces, another rainbow board. When it checks to me, I don't want to check it through and just let somebody hit a gut shot straight. So I decide to go small, same thing I did pre-flop, 1/3 pot, 33% pot for all of you mathematicians, and unfortunately both players fold, so no action there, but still nice to flop 2 sets of aces in 1 session. Pretty crazy. We then get a quick taste of how different PLO is from Hold'em, as we look down at a really good hand, king, queen, queen, jack, without any suits though, which does hinder the hand here in PLO. Still, when there's an early position open to 25 and the player to my right calls, I decide to 3-bet this one up to $100. Honestly, not minding at all to take the pot down here, but my plans are spoiled, and both players make the call, praying to see a queen to make things easy, but that is not what happens. We get a lot of low cards and a few hearts. Like I said, we don't even have a flush draw, so when it checks to me, I decide to check this one back. We see yet another bad card on the turn, and now the player to my right decides to lead out for just about pot for $275, and I fold. The big difference here is if we had pocket queens in Hold'em and this was the flop, we would be loving life, but here, when you add 2 more cards and you don't even have a flush draw yourself, it's super hard to play, and I'm learning that very quickly, but we're just going to try to fight as best as we can and see if we can turn a profit today. Unfortunately, we didn't get into any more hands, and this is the last vlog from my Vegas trip. I had so much fun, and I just wanted to thank you guys for all your support. It allowed me to come out here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my Wynn cash, my Bellagio cash, my tournament cash. If you guys haven't seen any of those videos, check them out. They're all on my profile. They've been doing amazing. Seems you guys have loved Vegas. I'll have to head back out there, and our next week's video will be back to a familiar location, so stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.